Woo! Welcome. Oh,
Hello,
I forgot to get the
everyone.
music. Forgot
I
to get the
know.
music going.
Happy Tuesday afternoon now.
Yes. You guys, we are halfway through. Oh my God. Well, I guess once we finish this, that's the crazy thing. I just cannot believe it. The
Almost
last
there.
one of the day. It goes fast when you're having fun, you know?
So many sessions, so much fun, so much learning.
Tons of learning. And that's what this one's going to be, a really good supplemental one where we're not really focusing on a specific type of travel, but we're just popping in all kinds of tips and tricks all over the place. If you were on the cruise one right before this, there were so many. I know Kathy shared a ton, Haley shared a ton, and you're just going to about to get tip overload, on this. It's going to be
You're
so
about to
much.
get tipped.
You're about to get tipped. So many. Oh, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. But before I jump into those, I do have to go through the little housekeeping things, just in case if this is your first time joining us during training camp. There is a certification going on. I don't know if you have heard about it, but if you join us for 5 or more sessions, you will get Travefy Camp certified. So I bet there's a lot of you on here who are already there. You probably made it because we are on.
There are advisors reaching out to our support team via chat saying, when do I get my certification? I already attended 5 webinars. So people are clamoring to get their certification.
It's so awesome. Yeah. And so we will, and on that, to answer that question in live person form, we'll know when you've attended. So we have all that in record, we can see everything. But we'll reach out and probably just give us like a week or two. Unfortunately, sorry, it will just take us a little bit of time just to get everything organized and, make sure we don't miss anybody, but then we will send you, we'll reach out and send you your virtual badge, your little graphic that you can use, share anywhere. And then also your certificate to print off and hang proudly on the wall. So we will reach out and send that to you.
Put it in the back window of your car.
Yeah.
Your certification.
Oh my God. Way better but the best, but maybe next year we do bumper stickers. I attended Travefy Training Camp 2022.
Fridge magnets too.
Yes.
So.
Oh, the possibilities are endless. So many ideas.
We should make bumper stickers, but for PTA parents, like my son is at whatever high school, or my travel advisor is Travefy certified.
Oh my God. That is awesome. Well, Scott, actually, I have a better idea for that. You want to hear it?
I'm listening.
What if instead of training camp, you were actually just Travefy certified?
That's even better. It's even better.
Oh my gosh. Maybe that's what we need to add to certification. So for those of you who are not familiar, we have been announcing this week so far that we are launching certification. And this isn't just training camp certification. This is like the real deal, all year round, into the future certification.
It's evergreen.
Yeah. Oh man, it's huge. Well, I got to get to this part. I always forget to get to the best slide because you can see that Travefy certification badge. So we'll have that available. And everybody who's part of training camp, we will personally send you an email next week letting you be the first ones in. So when it launches, you will know. So really exciting. Oh yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
It is.
We have stirred up a little bit of excitement, but also confusion in the chat around the topic of bumper stickers.
Oh,
we don't actually have bumper stickers, but it's a fabulous idea.
Okay.
And so we will, I am literally the guy that has to make that decision in marketing at Travefy. And if it's an extraordinary amount of money, I just have to get David to sign off on it. But usually I can get the CEO's ear for things like this. So
that is amazing. Oh my gosh, I love it. And magnets too.
Yeah. Yep. I see that.
Who doesn't love a magnet? Yeah. You can put it on your file cabinet, fridge, anywhere. There's so many possibilities.
Just not on your phone or your computer. That usually doesn't go well.
Oh, true. Good call. Yeah, that could be bad. Oh man, possibilities are endless here. Maybe as that certification just continues to grow, we'll just have all these different, you're just going to be swagged out with Travefy certification, cool.
Yeah.
But there's also going to be an advanced one because we know some people like to, reach to the highest they can. And there is advanced. So there's going to be an advanced one, but then we actually already do have We have a certification with CLIA members. So you can actually do a Travefy course and just basically learn how Travefy can work for you if you do specialize in cruises. But you also learn, even if you don't just do cruises, you would learn too. But it's really cool. And it's already out there. You get 3 elective credits towards your CLIA membership. It's really awesome. And it's just certification.travefy.com. You can access that. So
very cool
that was there.
partnership. We are the first technology software provider to partner with CLIA in such a way. So we're super excited just about the opportunity. CLIA is obviously an incredible organization. So we're really, really excited to have the opportunity to partner with them that way.
Yeah, it's really cool. Also have to say, there's already some links going in for ideas.
I'm watching that. So you can just order them right here.
Yeah,
order them
that's
up,
perfect.
Scott.
Just order while we do this. It's okay. The last thing that I want to bring up before I dive in here is also we will have trivia happy hour at the end. So join us on Thursday. So we'll wrap up on Thursday. It'll be 4 p.m. Eastern time. And you can join us and you can win some prizes. And it's just really fun. We did it last year too. It was a great time.
I don't know about you. I'm already ready for a celebratory drink at the end of training camp week. It's going to be awesome.
I keep getting tempted. Like yesterday, I was like, hey, you deserve maybe a glass of wine. I'm like, no, you wait till Thursday.
Focus.
We're going to have it with everybody else. We're going to have them. We're going to have our celebratory drinks together all on here. And it's going to be great. It'll be a good time. So everybody should definitely join us for that. That'll be fun. Really good time. The last thing also to mention is this is being recorded. So you can check out all the sessions at travefytrainingcamp.com. So if you go on there, just give us once this one wraps up, it just takes 15, 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden, and then it'll be on there. So just go onto that website and you will be able to watch those. So you can watch them at any time and send them to people too. You can send them to whoever as well. But with all that being said, let's talk about sales and marketing tips and tricks. Oh man, there's 10 of them. So we've got 10 today. We have 10. So here's kind of how we're going to do this flow, because this is really great. This is also going to be really cool. You're going to learn, as I was saying yesterday, if you don't learn anything, you get your money back for this webinar registration. It's a joke. You didn't pay for it. But
the satisfaction guarantee from Steezy. So
oh my gosh. So yeah, no, this will be really cool. But I brought up this slide because how we're going to do this is there's going to be 10 tips in total. And we are going to walk through this like your typical workflow would go. So we're going to start off with marketing. So you're grabbing the marketing, getting their attention. Then we're going to talk about how you can capture leads using Travefy's tools. And then we are going to talk about once you get those leads and they're interested, then we're going to talk about how you can build those proposals and quotes for those leads. And then in that, we're also going to talk about how you can, easily do upsells, making those quotes and proposals just amazing and make them I need to book this trip. And then we'll also talk about how you can use Travefy for the end, which is the payment. So we're going to go through that whole flow. So you'll see this slide. I pulled this. I totally took this from you, Scott, from the opening session, but I thought it was really good. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good because we're not necessarily going to go into every single one of these tools. I think the only one we're not really digging into is Simple CRM, but you can see though how all of Travefy's tools just align with the whole process. So that's what you're also going to see during the session is how it streamlines through everything. So that's kind of how we're going to do this. And again, feel free to put your questions in that Q&A, the chat, and we'll try to answer those at the end as well. But okay, so our very first one here today, again, we have 10 of them, but our first one is going to start off with marketing because that's usually where everything starts happening first to grab their attention. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is sharing on social media. So how you can share trips that you create in Travefy, and you can just share them on travel or on social media. They could be things like, maybe travel inspiration, a trip that you're currently marketing, maybe an example. One thing that comes to mind, I heard somebody said, I think it was like last year, they had mentioned that they will put a trip that they just booked for their client. They'll create a copy of it, and then they'll post that on their social media and say like, "Hey, check out this trip I just booked for my client." That was such a good idea, because it just initiates a little bit of a FOMO and just really gets them excited, like, "Oh wow, people are really booking this right now." So it's really cool. But I'm going to show you how you do this though. So basically, any trip that you were to create, you can just go in and you can just grab a link to view it. So how you can do that is, I'm going to go into the builder here. So this is just a trip that we put together. And if you just click the preview button, that will bring you into the link. So you could actually just copy that link at the top and use that. So if you just want to copy that link and paste it, on social media, you could. You can also get it by clicking the send and then just click get trip link and then say copy web link. And I see a question already I'm going to call out that asks proposal or itinerary. So that is a good question, because I would recommend, you don't want it to be a proposal, because a proposal would have them actually approving it. And if you put that out on social media, you might just get one person approves it and then it's already approved. It just wouldn't really make sense in that case. So what you could do is just make it as an itinerary. But another thing about the itinerary, though, is that it'll automatically say app or PDF at the top. And sometimes in those cases, you might want to turn that option off, which you can. So you could turn that option off in the trip settings. So if we go in here and click settings, down here where it says client actions, you can uncheck those boxes. And then when you save those, if we preview this, it will just be at the top, and they won't see that part. That's just what I'm seeing since I'm in my account, but it'll be just plain. So that's a good question. So it's a good thing to think about of, what option did you want them to have in there basically. But what's really cool is I'm going to grab a link. So I have a trip that I want to share, and I have our Facebook page opened up already. And you may have seen this in previous sessions, but it's just so cool to share, because when you share, and this is Facebook, but you could do this in Twitter, other social media, platforms as well. Facebook's a big one, so we always like to use that one. But all you have to do is just create a post. And then if you paste in that URL, you'll see that cover photo comes in, the name. So you could put the name, obviously it probably wouldn't be like Smith Family. It would be something generic. But you can put that in here. And if you do have domain masking turned on, it will say your domain masking right there as well. So it's just really easy. And I'm just going to post it. So you can go check that out on our Facebook page on there, and you can see it. But I just always love showing that, because it's so simple. And again, think of it if you're marketing trips, or if you do just want to, share, like, this is a trip I just booked for a client. I'm so excited for them. Check it out. You could do that. So really cool. And you don't have to share their specific trip as well. You can always just copy it and then take out any, private information and then share that one.
Very good point. And excellent question from Heather on that subject of, if I share a client's trip, will it show the trip name, the client's name? Yes, it will. If you're sharing that trip out to social media, it's going to verbatim show everything that's on that trip. And so that's where a really, really important point when you're sharing those out, we recommend creating a copy very quickly of that trip, anonymize it, take out any sensitive information, client information, confirmation numbers, anything that would not be appropriate to be out there in the open, and then anonymize it, share it out that way. So really, really good question, Heather, on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to move on to the next tip, because it kind of works together and it's going to take this to the next level. So sharing that link on social media is awesome, but I'm about to blow your minds. If you thought that was cool, you also can do this with the website builder. So I'm going to talk about the website builder. I'm going to go into that because that's another marketing tool built into Travefy that you can click on the name and then click on website. And basically, so this website landing page tool is built into your account. It's free. There's no extra cost to use this. So we have a webinar tomorrow too, a session. So if you're interested in going deeper into this, join us tomorrow for our session on website and landing page builder. But really, what's really cool is you can build this website or landing page. You can build this to market, the trip as well. So what you can do is we do have an option. And how the website builder works also is basically you're just dragging and dropping these elements. So it's built through with elements. So you can add different elements. And there's a specific element that is called, it's the large card gallery or the trip gallery that you can pull in. And then you can actually add your trip that you've created into that. So I'm going to show you what I mean by this. So I'm just going to do a new page, and you can have unlimited landing pages as well. So you can have unlimited pages in here. But as I mentioned, there is that element that is called the trip gallery, or you could use a large card gallery as well, but you can just use a trip gallery and then just drag and drop it in. And then in here, you can see there's 3 cards that are given to you right away, but you can remove those or you can add more. You can have as many cards as you want. But you can actually, I'm gonna delete them for this case. But I just want to edit this trip right here. I want to bring in a trip that I've created. So I'm gonna click that pencil icon there. And then I don't necessarily have to edit all this information. I can leave it blank because I'm going to import it from Travefy. So to do that, I just click the import from Travefy button at the bottom. And I'm going to choose a trip. So it's going to look at all the trips that I have in my Travefy account. And you can see here that the one that I want to pull in is that, again, that same one, that Venice, Italy trip. So I'm just going to click that little plus icon and it's just going to add it and see how it adds all that for me. So then I can do multiple things. I can change this description if I want. I can give it a badge, which is basically like really good if you want to put like pricing or see how it just kind of becomes like a little call out. Or if you don't want to give pricing, you can be like now booking, or just basically if you want to do some type of call out, that's a great way to do that. But then what happens here is, let me save this. I'm going to save this. Oop, let me publish. I think that's saved for me. Let me preview here and then see this trip. Okay, so here's, and of course, your website or landing page would look way better, but I just created a blank one here. But here's what it would look like when they have it. And then when the client goes to view that, they just click view trip. And look, it looks basically the same as what we shared on social media. So you can see how it looks the same, but there's actually a contact button at the top. So you can click that contact button and then they can just reach out to you if they're interested. So that's a really great option. I know one time someone had asked about what is like the CTA, the call to action on it. Well, that would be it. That would be a really great call to action, is just that contact button there. So you can use that, and you can make your website or landing page. You don't have to have a ton of information. It can just have basic info and then that trip. Don't have to put a ton of time into it. The other thing too about the little extra tip that I want to give here is with the website builder and the landing page tool, we also do offer domain masking so that you can brand it an extra layer there. So either in your account settings, you can go turn on domain masking, and it's really easy to do, but we also understand that people aren't used to, always dealing with domain stuff. So you can schedule a one-on-one with our team and we'll walk you through. We can share, have you share your screen and walk you through how to do that. But it's really awesome. And see how I have it on mine. So it's travelistatravel.com. That's my little fake branding right there. But it's easy to do. I'm telling you, it's like so easy. If you own a domain, I would recommend getting that in your Travefy account, because even if you have a website, you can still use that domain. It'll just be subdomained. So if there's questions on that, I can answer those at the end too. But domain masking should do it. The other thing about this, and this is going to kind of take me into my third one. So my third tip is talking about landing pages. So it's very similar to what we've been doing, but a little bit of a deeper dive into it. But think of this as, I know that there's been users who have used, they've created a trip to use as a freebie or a free download. I've seen that multiple times where they'll build an itinerary and they'll, on their website, maybe they'll collect an email address and say, get my free tips or my free, 5-day itinerary to Rome, whatever it might be. And then they can get those emails and then share that trip. So that's a really great way to do it. And you can do that with the landing page builder as well. So the difference is with your landing page, I have a landing page here. So I'm going to share this with you, and this will make a lot of sense here. So a landing page is great if you have like a one-off thing that you just want to share. So think of that as like group trips, destination weddings, promotions, whatever it may be. And you just have you just want one single page for someone to go to and get all the information about it. And that's where the landing page is just incredible. And again, you can have as many as you want in here. And I have one example, I'll share it with you in the chat, is I have this one, and let me share this really quick so you can take a look at it after this. But basically, this was a river cruise that I am currently booking. So I just quickly made a landing page for it. And here's what it is. I mean, it's so simple. I just talk about, here's a quick, what is this about? Grabbing their attention. Just a quick blurb, what is this about? Letting them read it quickly. I added a client review in here to really entice them. And then I have that trip. So I did add that trip in here, of course. And then another thing I did, which I don't want to get ahead of myself because this is another tip, is I also added a form in here, which I will get to. But there's a form in here that you can fill out to get that. So that way, if someone's interested in it, I will get their information. So lead magnet. So think about that. It's such an easy way. And we actually do have, Scott and I did a webinar, I think it was in January, where we did anatomy of a landing page. And it's one of my favorite webinars because it's how I built this. It's literally just going over how I built this website or this landing page. And it's awesome because it's so easy to do. And you can also copy these. So if you ever build one landing page and you want to use that for other ones, so say, for example, a destination wedding, if you do those and you want to build a landing page for each destination wedding, it's really simple. You can just copy it. By clicking, if you click in the settings, just click copy current page, and then you'll be able to save that. So, or start working off a new version. So I'm telling you, the landing pages and the website builders it is such a game changer if you use it, and it's so easy to use too, and it's free to you because it's already built into your Travefy account and you can access it. But now the fourth one, so I almost got into it, was talking about lead generation forms. So this landing page could be your lead generation form. But when it comes to actually gathering information, you're probably wondering, okay, how do I do that? I want to actually get the information. So this is where the handy dandy forms comes in. So we have forms built into Travefy, so that way you can actually create a form to collect any type of information that you need, and then you can pop it into this website or landing page. And I'll show you how that's done. So if I go back out here, I'm just going to go back. So your forms actually live in your library. So when you first log in, you'll see the screen just like I have. And then you'll click library. And then in here, you can create a new form by clicking new library item and then choose form. And then here's where you can start creating your form. So if you have a so you can pull from Travefy's templates. If you've already created one, you can copy from one you've created before. But otherwise, it's really straightforward and really easy to do. You can just give it a title. So I'll just say lead generation form. And then you just can add each question one by one. So, if you want to add what is your full name, all of that good stuff, whatever it is you need to collect. You can add additional text in here. You can add links. I mean, you can do tons of formatting in there if you need to talk more about what that question and what you're looking for. And then you can choose, what type of response do you need? And then is it required? all of that good stuff. So it's really easy. And then when someone fills out this form, you'll get a notification letting you know that they filled it out. And then you also can come in and you'll be able to see under responses, you'll be able to see all of them in there as well. And what's cool about this is you can then send them and create contact profiles in your contacts. So I said we weren't actually going to talk about contacts, but I want to because it is really cool once you do get those leads in here. What you can do is you can send them to your contacts where you can save information. So you will be able to see, this Mike Smith came from my lead, my lead magnet for this. So you'll get to see that in there. And it all saves. So you can see this is all working together. So it all saves in that one place. But now when it talks about getting in the website and actually having a website or a landing page and adding that form to it. So one thing is your form, when you create a form, there is a link. So you could grab a link. So if you click share, there's a link that you can grab. So you could just use that and you can share that. Like if you have a Facebook group or an email that you're sending to a group of people, you can grab that link and use that. But you also can import it directly into a landing page. And I'll show you how, because we have a specific way that you can do that. So if I'm let me go back into this one that I had built. So let's say I'm going to use this element right here. Let's say I have some information here and I'm going to add a button. So you can add a button on pretty much most of the elements. So if you see that option where it says add button, you'll be able to add a form. So just click the add button, and then where it says button type, you'll click form. So you can click form. You don't have to use the external link. You don't have to just paste that in. You can actually just click form. And then you can say your thing or interested. I'll just put book now. And I know spelling incorrectly, but we'll just pretend like we know what that's supposed to be. And then what you can do is you can create a new form if you wanted straight from here, but you can just click import from Travefy and then see how all of my forms automatically come in. Now, you will notice here that the grayed out ones I cannot add, and that is because there is credit card authorization in there, which we'll get to at the end. But forms like that, we are not able to just put out there to anybody. They have to be sent directly to them. So you do want to make sure that you're only asking questions that has nothing to do with using the credit card authorization tool or e-signature. But most of the time, most of these, you wouldn't be asking that. So you shouldn't run into that. But if you just click on that form and I click save, now that's actually in here. So then if I publish this and then I'm going to publish and preview, I'll show you what this looks like. So I'm going to scroll down. Here's that trip that we added. And then here's that interested book now button. Click on that and check it out. Here's what I love about this is it stays in this window. So that's what's really cool. So if they're viewing this on a mobile device, so in fact, we can look at what the mobile looks like. Look at what it looks like on mobile. It's really easy. So nice. Very beautiful in there. And so then all they have to do is, type in their name and just go ahead and submit it. And then again, you'll receive a notification letting you know they have it. And then you can then go access it in your forms. So it's easy. It's pretty awesome there. So I'm going to go outside of my website builder now because I want to go back to my main account page here because the fifth thing that I want to talk about. So we went through we're moving on from marketing now. So we did all the marketing. We got our clients. We got our new leads. Now they're interested in a quote. So when you do the quotes and proposals. So of course we had a whole session on quotes and proposals. So I won't spend time doing that because we would be here for a long time. But one thing that I wanted to show you for a tip is creating templates for your quotes. So that way, when you get new leads in, you can be ready to give them a quote. And so what you can do for that is you can basically just create a new trip. You can create it as a proposal or an itinerary. And what you can do is you can just set it up so that it's already set up for everything you would need. And then you can copy. So then how we were going over earlier, how you can always copy trips. And to show you an example, I actually have one in here, this all-inclusive. So if you do all-inclusives, this is a really good one, is this all-inclusive proposal template I created. I'll go in and I'll show you what I did. So we have, where I can then start plugging in the resort options. I can start plugging in tour. And yours doesn't have to look like this. It's basically whatever information you're likely to always include, have that in there, and then just label it as a template. So, when you're searching for it, that you can just copy that version. And then all you have to do is just plug in the stuff specifically for that. And sharing this template, I can definitely share this as well. Another little tip is you can share to other people. So if you ever want to share to another advisor, another person using Travefy, just click that save a copy option. And then I can send you this link. That way you can have this. Look at all this stuff you're getting, all these freebie things. It's so great. And it's a good example of what you can do, And another tip I always like to explain in that is a lot of times, sometimes there might be things like cancellation policy, COVID-19 information, whatever it might be, things that every person you book is usually going to have. I always recommend putting that in the trip template too. So you can use this information document section, or you could create a new section if you wanted. But in this information document section, it's really great because you can just put in, cancellation policy, all that, and you don't have to re-add it every time. So again, it's just time saving and helps you pump out those quotes and proposals just really quickly. So now on to my sixth tip. So talking about saving things, it helps. It's a time-saving tool to be able to just copy something and reuse it. So that's what I'm going to talk about, the library. Now, the library is an amazing, amazing tool. And if you've been on these sessions, you probably keep hearing all about it. But one thing that I wanted to focus on is types of things you should save to your library. So in your library, this is where you can save information to reuse over and over again. So say example, resorts, hotels, tours, excursions, where you might have, some photos, videos, all that type of content that you don't want to have to redo every single time. And you can save all that to your library. And I would recommend building up your library if you haven't already. I would just think about what are those items that you're going to be using, 75% of the time at least. And I would recommend getting those in your library so that they're there and ready to use. And there's a couple ways that you could do that. You can either save things from a trip. So if you already have things in your trip that you want to save, you could save like this one right here, for example. If you need to save something, all you do is go into that trip, click the pencil icon, and then when you come down at the bottom, you can click those little three dots down there and then click save to library. And you can just save it directly in there. And then that way, when you're opening a new proposal or an itinerary, you'll see it over here on the right-hand side of your screen. You'll be able to search for it and then just drag and drop it in when you need it. So you can do it that way. Or if you are starting from scratch and you just want to start building up that library, you can actually just go directly into the library. So you can click in the library and you can click new library item and start building it from here. So if it was like a resort, you could just put the lodging, start typing in the name of it, add in those notes, add in those photos, all of that good stuff. So it's just a really great tool in there. The other thing to mention about library that if you've been on our other sessions, we've been talking about a lot is library sharing. So it has been quietly released, so it's already out there. But we are going to have marketing this week. So I know Scott's been hard at work on it, getting it ready for everybody to launch. But we'll be sending out some information on that coming really soon, and we'll talk more about that. But the library sharing is amazing because you'll actually be able to, if someone else, whether they're on your team or another agent, if they have information that you want to add to your library, we have a way for them to do that. And it's really easy. So if you ever do want to share something with someone, all you do is click on the item you want to share in your library and then click that share button. And then you just grab that link. That's really all you do. It's very easy to do. Another thing too is we also have, there's a Facebook group out there as well with the Travefy. So Scott, I might have you, once you get a second, to share that Facebook group out with everybody, but that Facebook group is legit. There's so much stuff, and it's all about, it's not hosted by us or anything. It's purely just Travefy users sharing their stuff. So if you're looking for an easy way to, build up that library, there you go. That's probably going to be the best thing out of this. Yeah. So the Travefy share group, it is super awesome. But now the next thing that I want to talk about which kind of goes into the library also about, saving like photos and videos, is I want to talk to you about importing content like photos and videos from a website. It is so cool. Again, if you've been on sessions, you have totally seen this because we love this feature. So, when you're sending out, whether it's an itinerary proposal, if you have photos and a video on, like a hotel, that is just going to add so much value to your client, especially if it's a quoted proposal and they're going to be like, heck yeah, I want to go to this place. So I'm going to show you how that we love to do this. So I'm going to go into this trip here. I have a setup with one right here. So I'm going to go in here, and I've already added this resort. So I added this resort and I added some notes in here, but I have not added multimedia, any photos or videos, because I want to do those with you. So basically, every event, you can always add up to 5 images or videos. So what you do is just click in the multimedia section. And of course, you can access our database. So we have free stock photos that you can use if you'd like. Or if you have your own photos, certainly upload those as well. But you can also copy and paste from a website. Now, how you do this, I already grabbed the link for this resort, but all you have to do is just get the website link. And sometimes, like you'll see here that I went to the gallery, sometimes it's better to go find the correct URL that's pointing to like their photos. And so that's what we've usually found. But otherwise, what it'll do is it'll scrape for photos. So then that way you can come in and you can pick and choose, up to your 5 photos. And depending on the website, sometimes you'll get a ton of them. Sometimes you'll get like as many as I got. It's really good. But sometimes I've seen a lot of photos in there. And that's all you do. And then just click Save Changes and they're uploaded for you. So it's extremely simple, really easy to do. But what's also really cool is you can do this with video. So if you go to YouTube or Vimeo and you get their link to a video you want to post in here, all you do to add it is very similar to how we just added this website link. But if you click video, you can paste in that link here, click video, and there it is. Look, it's added. And then I click Save Changes. And it's in there. And now if I want to take a step, I can rearrange. So hot little tip, you can always rearrange your photos and videos in there. But that's what it does. And then check this out. This is what's also really cool about this is when your client's viewing this, they can watch this directly in here. So it's not going to take them out to YouTube or, mess with anything. That's what's really cool about that. And then they can scroll through all the photos. It's just really, really easy. Now, another part of that tip is when it comes to videos, there's a lot available out there. There's so much. So if you go to like local DMOs or tourism boards on YouTube, grab those videos. They want you to share those beautiful videos. So definitely think about that, especially if you're sending, Cancun, for example, like this one was. You can go to the tourism board for Cancun, their YouTube, like all of them have videos. And they are really well done and they're awesome. So definitely consider that. Think about that and use those videos also. So the next thing, okay, so we talked about adding that content. So now let's talk about adding other kind of content. So this is just tip number 8. So tip number 8 is we're still adding value to that quote and proposal for our clients. So I want to talk about destination content. So we have what's called city guides. So then that way you can just quickly grab information about destination and plug it right into Travefy, into your trip or proposal. And it's even easier than how I even described. It's so simple to do. Here, I'm going to walk you through this. So we have over 640 different destinations worldwide that you can choose from. And how you add it is you just want to come over here to the right-hand side where your library is. And on the library, just click City Guides. Then from here, just start typing in the name of this destination you want, and you'll see them, they'll start to appear down on this drop-down menu. And I actually want Cancun, so I'm going to choose Cancun here. And then I'm just going, you can either drag and drop it in, or there's this little plus sign icon that you can, it's a little faint probably for your screen, but you can see that and you can just click on that and it's going to add it. Now it's going to add a lot of information, which is never a problem. You have all these sections in here, so you can pick and choose. I just added all of the sections, so they're all coming in. But you don't have to do that. You can pick and choose and say, maybe you don't want the top 10, or maybe you want to edit this. You can do that as well. So you can always edit this, or you can just delete it entirely. So if I just want to say delete, I can do that as well. So it's full control over what is being displayed. But this is just kind of a no-brainer though to add especially when it's a quote and proposal, and it just adds so much value in there. But another little tip on this is also, if you ever want to create your own city guides, your own destination content, you can do that. And it's, again, really easy to do. All you have to do is click the new event button. And then you want to choose info. So you'll choose the info option. And then choose city guide. So just in a subcategory, choose city guide. And then you can put in your title, your notes, add in your places, and then just save it to your library. Just save it to the library. And then that way you can use it anytime you want in the future. So great tool on there. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to actually building the quotes and proposals. So this is tip number 9, is upsells. Upsells. So the beauty of Travefy is you can add anything you want in here. So what you should do is you should add, any extra tours, excursions, trip insurance. They can't book what they don't know about. So it's really easy to do. So we always encourage it. If you ever want to just add, again, whatever it might be, tours, private, like walking tour, no matter what it is, you can add them really easily manually just by clicking new event and then choose activity and fill in the information. You can also put pricing in there, so you can put price. Now I have one I'm going to pull in really quick just as our example. I think it's the catamaran. There we go. So I'm gonna do this private catamaran charter that I have. So I had this saved in my library. So hint there that you should save those to your library, because really easy to bring right in to add those. But then what you can do is, if you wanted to, let's say that you have like an affiliate link, because I know like Viator is a big one for that. Or if you have any other tour company that you work with, you have, yes, you can add a Viator link. I'll show you that actually. That's
fastest answer to a question in the chat ever.
Yeah, that was really fast.
Janet literally pushed that in there and you're like, yes.
Yes. Man, Janet, we're on the same wavelength. We said Viator, I think the same time that you press enter. Yes, I will show you that in a second here. But what's really cool though, is if you have that link, so if you have the link that they can go book it on their own, you don't have to book it. You can drop that into this event. So all you have to do is, and you don't have to do it in the same wording I am, but just say like, I'm just going to say book here. And then I'm going to highlight that text. I'm going to bold it because I really want to call attention to it. And then I'm going to just click insert link, and then just drop that URL in there. So I'm just going to put Travefy just because that's the quickest link I can put in there. You can also highlight that text, make it look like a button. And then that way, when they're looking at it, they don't necessarily need you to do anything. You can just click book here and then get that referral link out there. Another way is, I don't know if you thought about this as I've been saying it, but you also could, when you have those, if you do any like freebies or lead magnets where you create a trip template, I know a lot of people are mentioning, well, I don't want to give them away all my secrets, which, yeah, you definitely shouldn't do that. But also, if you do want to give them some options and then put in your book now link there, hey, you might just get a commission. You never know. So it's a great way to do that. Now with Viator, I'm going to go off track here for a second because I really want to show Viator because it's really cool. With Viator, we do have an integration directly with them. And how it works is if you go to your tour, and I need to remember if I have this. give me 1 second because I want to see if I have it already. Okay, so I have it already set up, but you do need to go into your account settings to turn on that Viator link. So you just need to turn it on in your account. And we have an FAQ on how to do that. It's really easy. But once that's turned on, if you click new event and then go to tour, so you want to go to tour, and then from this drop-down menu, just find Viator. And then you just need to enter the product code. And the product code is at the end of the URL of that tour or thing, whatever it is. So the great thing is it doesn't have to be booked. So this is a great way that if you do want to stick in some ideas from Viator directly, you could. So that's all you do. And again, there's an FAQ on it where you just grab that. But then what it does is it'll add all the information from Viator, including photos. So it is really awesome in there. Highly recommend that. And then you can also then maybe go in manually and stick in that book here link. So easy both ways, really simple to do. Okay, so the last one here, we're doing good timing. We'll have time for some Q&A. Yeah. This is great timing. Usually Scott and I aren't we start getting off track, but
you're blazing through it, and we've got a lot of questions coming in that I'm trying to answer as fast as I can. So
perfect. Okay, so I'll do one more, and then we'll get into questions. So our tip number 10, I want to talk about credit card authorization because we just went through the whole flow. We went through the marketing, getting those new leads. What can you do with the leads? Then you send out the quote and proposal. Now is time for your favorite part, which is getting the payments for it. It's booking time. So what you can do is you go into your library, because this is part of forms. So CC auth or credit card authorization would be part of the forms. So if you go into library, then you can go new library item and then click form. And then in here, now one thing, actually, I need to take a quick pause because you do need to turn on two-factor authentication in your account, which is basically just an extra level of protection with your password. Because if you're collecting credit card information, it's very high level info that we need to make sure your account's secure on. So you do need to turn on two-factor authentication. But then once you turn that on, you'll be able to create a question. You just need to create a question. And the option is card authorization. So you just choose that, and then you can type whatever you need in here. So I'm just going to say, please enter payment info, require it. You can also make sure that you collect the CVV. You don't have to if you don't need to. And then just click that. And that's it. That's really all you need to do. If you want to ask any other questions, you can. So you can get all of it all in this one form. But then when you send it, you also will be collecting their electronic signature. So that will be automatically turned on and you can't turn that off. So it'll be there. And if you have any of your own terms and conditions, you can copy and paste those in there. So you can put that in there. But then all you do is just share it. So you just need to email it. Oh, I need to have a title. Let me put a title. I'm just put CC off. So if I click share, this is where you do have to send this directly to the person. So you have to send it directly to the client or their email. So you can just type in their email, put in the authorization description. So you do need to fill out that, the amount, and then also the deadlines. So the deadline is really important because once that deadline passes, you'll no longer be able to go in and get it. So it's just it's just nice so that you and your clients both know that you only have access to it to the certain amount of time so that you can, do that payment whenever it's due. So that's all you do in there. And then once they fill it out, you'll receive a confirmation letting you know they filled it out. You can go view what they filled out in their contacts. So if you go into contacts, you will be able, I think I have one in here, in forms, and then you'll be able to view the response. And this deadline has passed, so I no longer can view it. But otherwise, you'd be able to click that button and open and get all that information. But then the other good part about that is your client also receives an email confirmation once they fill it out, and they'll have a PDF copy of what they filled out, what time, and what date, all of that information. So it's just nice knowing that they have written agreement of that, and then so do you. So it's kind of the great thing about it. But that's wrapping it up because I'm excited for questions. So I want to get into these questions here.
Alrighty. So first question from and I apologize, I may mispronounce this, but I think it's Ane. It's either Anne or
Ane.
Ane. How can you avoid doing the work for clients and they book the tour themselves? Any tips on how to minimize this? And I'm happy to help with this if you want.
Yeah, that one stumped, man.
Okay.
Yeah, stumped me already on the first. I mean, what I immediately think of is like the book now buttons or like putting in those links.
Yeah. So a couple things on here, because there's also a question later in here from Rubina along the same lines of, hey, we're putting everything in this itinerary that then we're embedding on the website or sharing on social media. What keeps someone from just going out and booking that? So one thing we wanted to clarify with what we're showing you here is how to use the tools. Now you can use those tools however you want. And to your point for Ane and Rubina, you don't have to list everything in the itinerary. You can remove out certain pieces of information. So for example, we have a longtime customer that's a tour operator in Italy, and he likes to put together itineraries for marketing purposes or for proposal purposes. And he specifically does not include the names of the hotels or the resorts on the itineraries. He'll just list 4-star property, city center in Venice, or something like that. So know that everything in Travefy that you import in or that you enter in manually, you can customize and change. So if you are putting things out there for marketing purposes, yeah, definitely be aware of what you're listing out there, but also don't be afraid from sharing things out there. Don't underestimate the power of the clients out there that just need someone to help them with this, that they're strapped for time, et cetera. But I do hear your fear in terms of clients that go off and book on their own. So you do have the control with Travefy of what to share and what not to share.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. Love that.
Awesome. Next question from Christine. What was the trick for reorganizing the order of a particular day as opposed to like clicking a single item? So you might have to just briefly walk through those different options to drag and drop on the itinerary.
Yeah. So let me go into this one. So basically, so what you can do is if you ever need to drag and drop anything around, you could. So you could just let me go down to this one. So like, let's say I can just move this, and hopefully you can see me do that. It says
Yep.
move item. Okay, cool.
We can see that.
Cool. So you can just move it that way. You can also edit and rearrange here. So this is really important because this is kind of a new update, but you can rearrange a whole entire day by just dragging it and dropping it this way. And you can also, if you wanted to like delete a bunch of stuff at once, you can do that. That's also new. But you can do it that way. If you also need to move things to different days, you do pretty much the same thing. You just drag and drop it to a different day.
I've actually seen that question come up a surprising amount over the last couple of days, just in the chat of, hey, I added something to the wrong day. Now I need to move it. What do I do? It's actually way simpler than you think. You can literally, as Stephanie just did, drag that item from the wrong day and drag it to the correct day in the list and drop it in there. So it's really easy. Everything's drag and drop in that interface.
Yeah, it's all drag and drop. Another thing you could do too is if you go and edit, if you're having an issue with dragging and dropping, like if your computer, you're on your mobile device or something, what you can do is you can also update the date here and then it'll drop it in to that day too.
Awesome. Next question from Eric. What is domain masking?
$1 million question. Well, domain masking is, and Scott can probably say this way more eloquently than me, but basically, so we have Travefy.com, right? So Travefy is our domain. So in my example here, I have my person's, let me go to my account settings here. Is my website. I own the domain for Travelistas Travel. So that's my pretend company. So I have purchased that domain outside of Travefy. And there's lots of different ones like Think Your GoDaddies, things like that. You can purchase them. And then what you can do is you can link that domain to Travefy. So that way, when you have like a trip that you're sharing with a client, so say, for example, I have this trip right here. I'm going to preview it. Let me just click. Instead of it saying Travefy.com, when I share this trip with my client, it's Travelistas.travel.com. So that's basically how that works. Scott, is there anything I'm like forgetting to
Nope,
say that.
that's exactly correct. So a lot of questions on domain masking. Basically, you just need to go out and purchase your own custom website domain. We have no preferred source from that. For that, if it's a GoDaddy, if it's whatever service you want to, Travefy does not care where you purchase the domain. And then you can go through the domain masking setup steps. I also posted in the chat a little bit ago the link to schedule a one-on-one training session with our support team to help you with that process of setting up the domain masking. Also, if your website is currently on a different website provider, you don't have to use that website provider if you want to switch over to Travefy. But if you just want to set up domain masking for your trips, you can do that as well and leave your website in its existing state. So, awesome. But next question, I'll take this one. So jumping in ahead of you. Cool. Lots of different questions on integrations in general, CRMs and suppliers in there. In the chat, I'll post a link to all of the currently integrated suppliers within Travefy so that you can take a look at those. Now, on that note, if there's a supplier that you don't see integrated with Travefy, what we would love to do is connect with that supplier. And so it's really, really simple. Just send an email to your BDM or whoever the appropriate contact is at the supplier that you know, and then just CC professional@travefy.com. What we do is we follow up on every single one of those emails to try to get connected with the right decision maker at the supplier to start the integration question. Generally speaking, we do those integrations free of charge, and there's literally no work or very, very little work for the supplier to do. We do all of the work on our end. So point being, the point I'm trying to make, there's not a good reason for the supplier to say, no, I don't want to integrate with you. So it's a really easy decision for them. So feel free to send out an introduction. We're happy to follow up and do that. Now on CRMs, that's a different story. So Travefy currently has integrations with client-based windows and online, vacation CRM, travel contact, as well as client ease. Now, travel contact and client ease are relatively new integrations, so you'll have to reach out to their team for more information on those. But those are the current CRMs that we have integrations with. We're always happy to integrate with additional CRMs. Those are just the ones that we currently have integrations with. So again, reach out to professional@travefy.com if you have any questions. But I did see some other questions in terms of like tests and travel joy and things like that. We're always happy to integrate with those. Some of them have specifically not wanted to integrate, but we're always happy to do that in the future.
Awesome. I can take a question here too, if you want. I see this from Lisa is, if I update an event within my library, does it automatically update in any proposals or itineraries it's being used in? And the answer is no. So if it's already on an itinerary and you update something in the library, it won't overwrite that. So that's a really good thing. But if you're going the opposite way, you could overwrite it. So, and only if you want to. So let's say that if you had something that's on like this example right here. And if I already had this saved to my library and there's something like I want to add some new photos that I just got, you could add them on here. And then when you go to save to library, it'll ask you, it'll say, do you want to overwrite or are you just trying to copy it or create a new version? And you can choose that. But otherwise, it won't mess with anything that's like on your trips already.
Awesome. Another question. This is a pro question.
Love that.
Can you go over everything in the trip settings window briefly?
Yes, absolutely.
There are lots of options in there. And when you get to the international dateline, please let me take that part.
Yes, I will. Okay, I will. Yep. I was literally thinking that was the first thing I was like, oh, that one. Yep. Okay, so one of my favorite things in here is the visibility. So if you ever send a trip, and I know this will help with a lot of those questions about what if you're giving away, information. If you want to shut that down, you can click hidden, and then anyone who has the link to view that trip won't see it. It'll just say that you're currently working on it, contact you for information. So you can always control that, which is nice. We always save our trip names, trip start date, the pricing field appears at the top of the trip if you want to use that. Same thing with the description. Description's great if you want to put like a note to your clients or break down pricing, whatever it might be. You have form fields. You can put a link in here, do all kinds of things. The client actions, again, that's going to allow them, if you want them to get the app, download the PDF. Those are going to be set automatically. Those will be checked. But if you don't want them to do one of those options, then you can turn it off. Agent actions means that if you're ever sharing a trip with someone else who uses Travefy and you want them to be able to download that into their account, so kind of similar to the library sharing, but with an entire trip, you can turn on save a copy. And actually, I did that earlier in this trip where I shared that. And then if you open it when you're logged into your Travefy account, there's a save a copy option at the top. So then you can click that, save it to your account. Messaging, that is built within the mobile app. So when your client has the mobile app, they can message you. There's a chat in there. But if you want to turn that off, you can disable it. So that's a really nice tool. So if you don't want that option, you can always turn it off. Overview map. So that is basically going to appear at the top of the itinerary. So if you want to have a map of all the pinpoints of everything on that itinerary, then you can turn that overview map on and it'll display at the top of the itinerary. Time format is really nice because it's already set all the time at TripViewer's default, but we understand that some people view time in 24 hours and some people view it in 12 hours. So you can control how that is going to be viewed, or you can just keep it as it is already with the TripViewer's default, where it'll just go however they're viewing it is how it'll be displayed. Thing with event visibility. So this is going to be when you use group tagging. So when you have a group trip and you utilize the tagging tool, this is where you can decide if you want those tags to be private or public. The biggest difference I always like to give an example of is if you have a family of, multiple families, but they all know each other, then maybe you want to go ahead and leave it public because you want them to be able to see each other's flights and different activities. But if not, you can always keep it private. And then when you send it to everybody, they will only see what they're tagged in. And then partner logo. This is really nice if you are working with, this is really good for like tour operators and DMOs, DMCs. If you want to throw in another partner logo, it'll appear at the top of the itinerary where kind of next to where yours is.
That's also a really nice option if you're ever working with an organization. Maybe you're doing a small group or a corporate trip or working with a team for sports travel. You can actually just drop their logo in that partner logo field, and it just displays really nicely at the top. Idea. So it's a nice little touch in that regard. Now, for the possibly most confusing thing ever written inside of Travefy, we've purposefully put this at the bottom of the itinerary because it can cause confusion. In the instance, and this does not happen as often as it might sound, in the instance in which your client is traveling backwards over the international date line, going from east, generally speaking, east to west in a short period of time, in which they're actually traveling back in time, so to speak, and repeating days that have already happened from when they took off, then not east to west, west to east, technically. I wanted to clarify that. Then technically it needs to repeat those days. You would be surprised how many travel services out there can't handle that, especially with combined, staggered group components, things like that. Travefy can. So that's a really, really important point. But having said that, don't play around with that. It's really, really complex. You do not need to use it unless your trip actually falls within that. Every now and then a travel advisor accidentally clicks that, and it can kind of mess up some of the ordering of things on your itinerary. So just wanted to clarify that. Only ever use that if your trip actually travels across the international date line, and then dates need to be repeated on the itinerary, and it will handle it perfectly that way. So
yeah. Yep. Glad you took that one. So yeah, be careful with that. The good thing is if you accidentally click it, you just have to unclick it and it'll fix everything. But yes, that'd be good. But oh yeah, and I did put the suppliers integrated with Travefy. I threw that link in there. It'll talk about like the CRMs and stuff. But the last thing that I wanted to talk about before we wrap up here, because I know we're already at time, it's just great, but it's our last webinar. So we're like, Yes, we're here. This is going so fast. We are officially now halfway through Travefy Training Camp, which is crazy. So definitely, once again, go to travefytrainingcamp.com. You can watch all the recordings in here. So even though it says register, it actually, if you click on it, it'll start working. But I want to give you a heads up for tomorrow because we'll wrap up for today. But for tomorrow, we have tons of great stuff. We have at 11 a.m. Eastern, we have the building itineraries for family and theme parks. And we're bringing in our little resident expert of like Disney theme parks, Doug.
Disney Doug.
Disney Doug. Yeah, no, like he's getting like, sir, he's taking classes for Disney. Like he knows, he's learning his stuff. So it's really awesome. So you'll see Disney Doug. And then at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, you will see me and my colleague Matt on discovering Travefy's website and landing page builder. So we'll get to go way deeper than we did today into all of that fun stuff. And then finally, Scott here is going to do 10 tips for using your library. And Scott, it is very well registered. There's a lot of people on it.
I like where this is headed.
Yes.
The library, one of the most
popular.
powerful tools in Travefy and sometimes underutilized. So we hope to change that with this webinar.
Yeah. So definitely, I mean, all of these totally come, but that one will be a cool one.
You highly recommend that one because of who's leading it.
Well, of course. I mean, you can't go wrong if Scott's leading it, you know, and it's also a new one though. We didn't have it last year. So
nope.
Really cool.
The power of the library.
Oh yeah, it'll be great. But just want to thank once again, and thank you, Scott, for joining me as well on here. Always a fun
never
time.
Miss it.
Yeah.
And everyone, thank you so much for joining. There were tons of questions, so thank you for those. We did our best to get to as many of them as possible. If we did not get to them, I sincerely apologize. We've had such great turnouts for all of the webinars that we really appreciate it. But we understand it can be frustrating if you don't get your question answered. Do feel free to reach out to our support team, professional@travefy.com, or use the live chat inside your account. As well, feel free to schedule training sessions with our customer support team. They're happy to connect further to help on that. But thank you again, and we do apologize if we didn't get to your question.
Yes. Please contact us and we'll help out there. But otherwise, we hope to see you tomorrow at tomorrow's sessions.
Awesome. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
See ya.